Hi everybody, Bones here, Alternative Energies Lab, back yet again on another episode of How to Make That Cap. This is the third, at this point might even be the fourth cap that got toasted. Now, this one here is probably, again, self-inflicted, but I guess that's what we would call the cost of experimenting. So I'm actually getting tired of making caps. Like I said, this one here was because of too much electrolyte in the cell, and I just plain overheated it. I tried epoxying the bolts and nuts so they wouldn't come loose, and it worked. It did work, but it just overheated, and from the cell bouncing back and forth, it messed it up again. So I took the advice of a friend, and most of you probably already watch his videos, Almost Hydrogen Steve, and he used a flat style cap on his unit and used JB Weld to hold his together. So I'm going to do similar to what he did. There's only going to be two differences. I'm going to use the same cap I have, not this one, but same style cap. Difference one is going to be, it's going to be ABS. ABS, they say, holds more heat. Now, I had just found out today that I can get CPVC, which holds the breakdown point of PVC is 140 degrees. The breakdown point for CPVC is 250 degrees. So it holds a whole lot more heat. So, but at this point here, like I said, I'm going to go to Steve's idea with the JB Weld and try that, see if that works out. So difference one is I'm going to use a different cap, a different type of plastic on my cap. And the second difference is I'm not going to bolt mine down to the table, Steve. Sorry, buddy. I'll do mine a little bit differently. Not that your bolting down to the table wasn't funny, but we're just going to skip that step. Okay. So here we go. A couple things I've done to it, as you'll see right off the bat, is I used longer bolts, and I kind of designed my own little, I don't know what you would want to call it, just heat sink to get the heat away from the bolt, if there is any occurring on the bolt. This is my exhaust for my HHO. I know this one's going to be a little bit harder to see because of it being black, but that's going to be the exhaust. That's where the copper pipe is going to come out and go down into my pre-bubbler. But what I had, one of the problems with this one here is you'll see, let's see if I can get it lined up to where you can see straight through it. See how you can see straight through it? Okay, what I had done, the way that it was laid out was my relief valve was on the top, my explosion-proof valve was on the top. This was my valve on the back for my autofill. This is where I have my check valve and my autofill, and then my exhaust port to go to my pre-bubbler. What would happen was when I'd fill it, when the pump would come on to fill it, it would shoot the water straight across and go right down into the pre-bubbler, and I was filling my pre-bubbler up. So what I had done is I had changed the design a little bit. I had put my autofill in the bottom. I went into the cap, so this way when I fill it, it goes straight down into the cell. So that was one of the changes that I made right there. And you'll see, I mean, before we get to the relief valve, there's the bottom of it. So you can see the JB Weld in there. Okay, but what I did is I added, see right there? What I did is I just took another piece of pipe and put another piece of pipe in there before I put the JB Weld in there, because obviously, I still need my exhaust ports and everything to go up. I personally like this look. I like that look of the top, with a big bolt on it and everything kind of comes together. It gives me a little bit more separation. So But that's what I did. I basically, you can see it goes straight through, and then I drilled my hole into the side, so that hole will go in. And now that the light's out, now that the valve's out, you can see it. You can see as my finger will pass through there, you can see that it allows the HHO to get in there. So, but that's the design of what I've done to the cap. And again, this is, you know, Steve's with Almost Hydrogen's design with the JB Weld. That's the quick dry JB Weld. So we're gonna give it a shot, Steve. Hopefully it'll work. And see what's going on. What I'm trying to do, the reason I'm trying to do is I tried adding more electrolyte to my system to bring up the efficiency, or to bring up the production a little bit, and I was doing good as far as heat wise. It's just that the heat wise on my bolts, I should say, but it would just, I mean, you gotta remember now, I drive for 2.5 hours at a clip, and I guess I had a little bit too much electrolyte in there and got just a little bit too warm in there and melted it up a little bit. But so that's a new cap, and I just took my relief valve. What I was finding with my style valves, and again, remember now, this is just a copy of somebody else's. I'm sure they've got theirs perfected, and I at that point didn't. This is the one I had pulled off the valve, off my cell, and every once in a while I would have to take it off and push the rubber washer in there. I'd have to push the cork in so it could reset itself. Well, this one here, what I had done is I had just drilled a hole in the cap and put a screw in it so I can just pull it. So all I got to do is just pull it to reset it. Reset that cork in there. And, you know, I can always check it, you know, just check the operation, just make sure it's working all the time. So it's just a little bit of a tweak it a little bit. The hole that's in the side there just happens to be where the HHO, where the valve inside, once I screw it in that cap all the way, that's where it goes through. I just didn't want any restrictions for my HHO. So you can see that the cork is above that point. So but anyway, so there's my relief valve from my cell, and there it is there. So like I said in the beginning of the video, but yet another cap. So hopefully this cap will work. I don't foresee why it won't work. If this fails me, I'm gonna go to a stainless steel housing and a stainless steel cap. Everything. I'm just gonna change everything over to stainless steel. I'm just trying to keep the expense down. I'm real happy with my results on saving the gas. I'll give you an idea. This thing's been out of my truck now for 3 days, and just in them 3 days, I can notice such a difference in the way the van is running, the power, or let me rephrase that, the lack of power that the van has now. It just a world difference. So even if I didn't, which I am getting 6 miles per gallon difference, 40% increase, even if I didn't get the increase in the mileage, I would have it in there just because of the performance that I get out of it. So you might get some people to say, well, I'm only getting a 20% or I'm only getting a 15% increase in your mileage, which is, you know, hey, anything you can get is better. But how about the performance? What's your performance like? You know, every vehicle I have it in varies in the percentage of efficiency that it got, but everyone has commented about how much better it runs, how much smoother it is, how much more power it has. So if nothing else, it's worth it just for that. So, and obviously the result of all of that is going to give you better gas mileage. So, but anyway, that's that.